How do we keep the canon a relevant part of an English classroom? Are the Western literary canon so hotly debated, discussed and dissected, it can be referred to as simply as the canon, as if it's the only canon that matters or has ever existed? Considered to comprise of Western literature's best of what's been thought and said, and used diligently in classrooms all around the world. But is it still relevant? And if it is, how do we keep it relevant and how do we keep it engaging? Anything that's taught in a classroom needs to add value to students' education. Many would argue that texts written by William Shakespeare, Jane Austen, or Bram Stoker are not adding value, nor are they engaging our students. Before I began research for this topic, I tended to agree with this viewpoint. Many of the canonical texts were written centuries ago, use old-style English, and have plot lines reflecting life from many moons ago. So where do the values lie in these texts? There are many valid points I came across in my study. A few stood out as being the most pertinent and helpful in understanding why the canon should hold value to today's students and teachers. Sanderson believed that canonical works needed to be a part of the curriculum as a way to highlight how universal themes have transformed over time. Ostenson and Wadham argued canonical texts show literary techniques that are characteristics of a specific time and place, and they give examples of descriptive language. Although both these points have clarified some of my own disputes with teaching the canon and surprised me with how much I agreed with them, I continued to research to explore the issues with the canon and with engagement. Canonical texts were written for adults originally, and for an audience that no longer exists today, which is where engaging today's students becomes problematic. So how do we engage them? Enter young adult literature. Multiple research has shown that young adult literature is actually a viable pathway for teaching and understanding canonical texts. Generally, young adult literature has fairly similar themes to canonical texts. However, students are more easily able to make connections and understand meaning in young adult literature because of the stories and characters are more relatable. So why isn't this happening in more classrooms? One of the most common complaints from students and from teachers is the irrelevance of text used in their classroom. So why are we not utilising the growing genre of young adult literature to engage our students and make them more excited about not only reading, but excited about using books they love and relate to understand classic canonical texts they thought they would never understand? And honestly, I don't have an answer to that question, but I am inspired and interested to continue my research to find out. This research has given me a different perspective and appreciation I didn't know I had on the value of the canonical texts in the classroom. I believe the texts are a fundamental part of secondary English, but need to be taught alongside genres like young adult literature to engage students while also highlighting to students the relevance to them and the text they enjoy to read. I'm still unsure as to how easily implemented these ideas are within the curriculum, but I'm excited to continue my research on the topic and find more examples of units of work where this idea has been effectively utilised, which texts have been the most successful, and if in an Australian English classroom, the use of young adult literature has given more meaning and relevance to the canon.